Welcome to this introduction of the Verifiable Credentials Lib by walt.id. Create, issue, and verify W3C verifiable credentials natively in Kotlin, Java, and soon JavaScript. Let's now have a look at the main features you get with the Verifiable Credentials Lib. First, you can create W3C VCs using our credential builder, which makes it far more easy to create credentials versus always needing to work with raw JSON data. You can sign the W3C credentials using various key types and signatures, from charts to SD charts, using our crypto library, which supports keys of different algorithms and many different storage implementations. Create verifiable presentations for users to present their credentials to a verifier using different signatures. Verify VCs as well as VPs using our custom policies. Let's now have a look at a quick demo to see everything in action. So here I'm in a regular Kotlin project where I'm importing the crypto library, the DID library, as well as the verifiable credential library from walt.id to enable VC issuance. The first step we need to take is to initialize our DID service, which will be using our local DID registrars. We also have the option to using the Uni registrar to create different DIDs and resolve them, but we always recommend our local one for more reliability. So we initialize our DID service and then start off by creating our issuer key as well as our subject key, and then using that key to create a DID for the issuer as well as the subject. When it comes to key generation, we offer various algorithms. So we just go quickly here. See, we can use an RSA, or we do SecP, or back to our ED2551. After that, so we have our issuer DID and subject DID ready, we start building our credential. And here we will be using our credential builder, where we have also the support for different W3C credential versions. So the V1 and the V2. So here we will be using the V1. And then in here you see we have these different functions where you can build up your credential with. So first we add some custom context. But the nice thing here is that you don't need to always provide the standard context which is needed, but you just provide the one that is specific to your credential. In the background we will add always the default one. Then the same thing goes for the verifiable credential, because every W3C credential always has verifiable credential as a type and then your custom one. Also here you just provide your custom type using these add type function. Then we provide our credential ID, which is a UUID, our issue DID we just created before. And then we have some utility functions like the valid from now, which sets the issuance date to the current time minus 1.5 minutes. We also set an expiration date for the credential using the valid for function and provide our subject DID we created before. We also can add any custom data, like here where I add this name for the credential. And then we have the use credential subject, which is a map of all the data that should land in the credential subject object. Then after we've done all that, we just simply build it as a W3C credential, and then we can pretty print it using our pretty print to JSON function. So let's just execute this to see our credential. So here we can see standard context was added as well as the type. We have our credential subject. Then we have our custom name, the expiration date, the issuance date, and ID and issuer, as well as the credential subject. So now let's see how we can sign this credential. To sign a credential, we first need to decide, okay, do we want to use the chart signature or SD chart? You will just sign it as a chart. So here the sign JWS by providing the issuer key, the issuer DID, and the subject DID. And then, as we can see, if we comment out this and run this code again, we get back our chart. And if we now take this chart and go chart.io, and if we paste it here, we see now our credential in the data, so in the payload of the signed chart. Okay, let's now see how we can do a verification. So going back here, I will now paste this verification section where we we'll call our verifier class and then verify credential, where we provide our chart and then a list of policies. In this case, I will just be using our chart signature policy to check that the signature is actually valid. But I also could use other policies like the expired policy, not before policy, schema, holder binding, allowed issuer, and many more. So let's go back and execute our verification. As we can see, our verification went through successfully. Let's now see how we can actually create a verifiable presentation. So if the credential was now by the holder and the holder wants to present it to a verifier. So in this case, we would take the holder did, then provide a nonce, and add our credential to the presentation and adding our signed VC to the credential presentation. Then after we've built our presentation, we will sign it using our subject key, so the key of the holder. And then we get back another chart, but this time it contains all the credentials we added and signed with the key of the holder of the credential or the subject. So let's execute this and we get back our VP. And then we see our VP and they're containing verifiable credentials, our chart we signed previously. Okay, so now we have our verifiable presentation. Let's now verify that. And it's actually pretty similar to the verification of the credential. So we start off by creating a set of policies we want to apply during the verification. And here we have two levels. So first we have the VP policies. These are the policies that are applied on the verifiable presentation level. In this case, we will be using the holder binding policy, which checks that the subject of the credential is actually the one presenting the credential. Then we have a set of policies that will be applied to all verifiable credentials inside the verifiable presentation. And here we are running again our chart signature policy we already used before. And then what we can also do, we can provide, because sometimes a verifiable presentation holds multiple credentials. So we can also specify policies that should be executed by a specific type of credential in the verifiable presentation. So in this case, we be executing our expiration date policy only to the credentials of the type open badge credential. And then we can also use the presentation context to do like more complex things, but I would just use that, leave that empty for now. And then we take all these different policy configurations and provide this to the presentation verification as well as our signed VP. And then we can execute this and check if all the verifications we applied went through. So here we see the verification passed. You could also look into more detail of every policy and see, for example, if one failed, why it failed, and get more information around that. With that, you've seen a little demo of the Verifiable Credentials Lib in a Kotlin project, but as said already, you can also do it in Java or soon JavaScript. So with walt.id, you get multi-ecosystem support out of the box. So you can create, sign, verify W3C credentials using various signatures, from the standard chart to more complex use cases with SD chart. Then you can use the walt.id Verifiable Credentials Lib with its interfaces in many different libraries, which gives you great flexibility. Also, in regards to how you want to store the verifiable credentials, you are super flexible as we offer multiple storage implementations. Also, when it comes to the exchange, so using different protocols, we also offer the OpenID for VC Lib, which then enables you to take the credentials, signed credentials, and issue them to users using the OIDC standard or others coming in the future, such as DITCOM. As our project is open source under the Apache 2 license, you can leverage our supported functionality or extend our module system with your own functions to fit your needs. And with that, get started working today with VCs and VPs using the walt.id Verifiable Credentials Lib. Link below, you find links to the issuer and verifier getting started sections of our documentation. Also, feel free to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And with that, happy building and see you next time.